Obviously an incredibly long story. I'll try to give a 10-minute summary, then we'll talk about what, aspects of it or what you'd like to talk about. I and a group of folks have been leaders inside SEIU for 30 years, some folks more than me. And ironically, in 1988, when John Sweeney was the head of SEIU, we went through a similar trusteeship over similar issues. It was about local democracy, the union being run by workers, right, as opposed to Washington, D.C. And I was part of a rank and file slate in '88 that ran for the leadership of our Northern California union, and we won, despite all odds, right? SEIU sent in everyone. Our union was 25,000 folks back then, and today it's 150,000.
Wow.
The fastest growing union inside SEIU, with the best standards in the healthcare industry for hospitals. And the most active folks, highest Coke dollars, by per capita, just every area that we measured, right, just the best. And that's because members run this union and very deep in our membership. In 1996, when Eddie Stern ran for president, we supported him. And for 8 years, I was on the E-board and I was a vice president of SEIU, we helped reform SEIU. We took Democratic votes to raise the dues enormously for organizing. We believed in that. And our union in California, in a 6-year period, organized 65,000 new workers, right? And it was all bottom-up organizing through struggle, right? None of these top-down deals. Things started going sideways in 2006, 2007, where we discovered accidentally a couple of top-down secret deals with our employers. A 10-year deal in Washington State with the for-profit nursing home industry, same employers in California, where they traded standards in actually workers' ability to advocate for their patients, right? For a little more of a wage increase that paid dues, right, for more members. And the nursing home employers in this 10-year contract got to choose which of their nursing homes could come into SEIU, not the workers, right? So we found that, exposed it in a very constructive way inside SEIU, and stopped it through organizing workers in California. And then came this national contract negotiations with Tenet Healthcare, the second largest for-profit system in the country, where 10 of the 12,000 SEIU members were members of our union in California. And SEIU attempted to trade their standards in California, give Tenet economic relief in California, retiree healthcare, pension standards, in exchange to organize Tenet workers in Texas and Florida. And we were trying to, in a very collaborative way, fight this corporation to win it all. The workers in California plus organizing rights, which is what we've done with other systems, like Catholic Healthcare West. And I could go into detail. We have 15,000 Catholic hospital workers in our union that have the second best contract in the country, right after Kaiser. And 13 of those 15,000 folks 7 years ago had no union at all. Right? It's just extraordinary. Just extraordinary work. Trying to constructively inside SEIU stop this direction, right, was met by increased retaliation against us. And in 2008, the SEIU was this horrendous year-long campaign against our leadership in California, where they sent in staff, did mailings, filed lawsuits against us, accused me of stealing $6 million. The kangaroo courts that international unions did, the hearings, right, finding us guilty of multiple things. And in 2008, in reaction to our reform movement at the SEIU convention, they did a number of things there, including taking a convention vote to force 65,000 of our home care workers out of our union into a corrupt union led by one of Stern's appointees, right, to weaken us because of this standing up to them, even though they voted 98% to stay united in this union. So they got the convention to actually vote that they could be forced out, right? And they amended the Constitution for all SEIU members now that the power to appoint bargaining committees and control negotiations with employers rests with international president, as opposed to being elected by workers on the ground, right? And in January of '09, they gave us an ultimatum and said, you will accept these changes and a number of others, or we're going to put you in trusteeship. And we had emergency leadership meetings in 5 cities, and 5,000 shop stewards came together and voted nearly unanimously to reject that ultimatum, even though they clearly understood that SEIU would have the legal authority to take over their union. Right? We gave a response, rejected it, and a couple of days later we were put in the trusteeship. This is a union of 150,000 workers throughout the state of California, the most important union in the state by far. The day after that, this 100-member executive board, of which about 85 are rank-and-file leaders, unanimously voted to form the National Union of Healthcare Workers. Just to turn the page. Now, some of us were 30 years inside SEIU, but after several years of trying to reform it, people came to the conclusion that it was impossible to stay inside SEIU and realize their dreams and control their union. Within days after that, 150 of the most incredible staff in the labor movement resigned their jobs in this economy, quit their careers in SEIU, and joined NUHW as volunteers to help stand up for these workers. And then over a 6-week period, over 100,000 members in about 110 employers filed majority petitions to decertify and join NUHW. Majority petitions with no paid staff in 6 weeks, right? I mean, more petitions than have been happening in the whole country the previous year. Now, unfortunately, this was like in March of 2009. Since then, SEIU has done almost everything with bogus charges to prevent elections from happening at the NLRB, accusing us of being a company-dominated union, just so many things, right? And having, in our opinion, undue influence in D.C. with the NLRB. So most of these elections haven't happened to this day, over 100 of them. We have had about 25, and we have won about 20 of those 25, right? And some by overwhelming votes. 1,000 RNs, Kaiser RNs in Los Angeles voted 746 to 36, right? That was the most extreme. Other elections, 3, 4, 5 to 1. Despite the fact that they had all the money, right, all the staff, all the lists, right? And it's just because we're just so deep in our membership. We want the fire leaders who want control of the shops. So here comes this Kaiser election. It's the biggest hospital contract in the country. 45,000 folks. For 18 months, we had no staff in these facilities, right? 400 sites. 400 sites. SEIU's budget is $40 million in this one election. They already have like 1,500 staff and are bringing in 2,000 more staff. We are still in this, despite all of that, right? This historic election, because of who we are, who our folks are, and what we're doing. It's like an extreme. Kaiser, who we had a great relationship with, our leadership, we built this great contract over the years in the labor management partnership, has now, since the last 18 months,